All right, so plan for today, if you were to look at the schedule, you can see we are doing lesson 7 today from the current unit. And there isn't a video up yet, but this links to the slide that will have that video. And let's go ahead and let's go like that. All right, so hey, all right, so from current unit, we're gonna go straight to lesson 7. That's all we're doing for today. It's relatively short, but that's perfect for our half day. So let's go ahead and get it done. The lesson is titled Debugging, which is the computer science term for fixing things that are broken. And that's what we're going to do. So just like before, general idea is to just, hey, hold on a second. All right, so when you get to a new lesson, a new bubble, we're just going to hit run, see what happens. All right, and let's speed it up. And we have an error. Okay, so looks like we have only console.log statements, and that's where we're just sort of practicing things. Not much is going to happen on the emulator. But as we hit go, we see we get an error. It says exactly where the error is, which is line 2. And so we have an error line 2. Oops, can't figure out. Perhaps you mean green with quotes. So we talked about this last time, the difference between strings and, well, let's say, what are strings? And if you're using just plain text and you want it to be interpreted by the computer as the actual text, it needs to be wrapped in quotes or apostrophes, as long as it's the same. And so we're going to wrap this word green in quotes, and there you go. Now, the reason why you might not have things in quotes is if you had a variable, which we'll talk about later, like if you had var green equals 5, and with a missing semicolon, but whatever, and then it would console log that variable, but that's not what we're doing here. We are just correcting the fact that this word green is not in a string. Notice the slider. Okay, so yeah, turtle, text mode. Okay, so yeah, we've just talked about the debug console, and that's it for bubble 1. Super easy. Just make sure you have a string there. Okay, so bubble 2, we have a bunch of set property, yellow user interface blocks. And if we hit go, we will see that, well, let's speed it up. We get another error. Okay, in set property blocks, there are, which are sort of, I mean, they are functions, but they're in this case a specific type of function for AppLab. And that function requires 3 parameters. The element that you want to set a property of, the particular property you want to change, and then what you want to change it to. Okay, we talked about this before, where if you change to a different element, like right here in this app right here, we only have two elements. We have the screen itself and the main text. The screen is the background. It also refers to the entire thing, which is kind of confusing. But in this case, the only element we have there is main text. And this text element has, all text elements have a ton of properties, as much as anything else. The screen only has two properties. And in this case, we want to set the text color to blue, but for AppLab, these parameters, it is the word blue, not, I guess the only way you'd use it is if it was a variable of some sort outside of quotes. But AppLab is expecting a string, and that's that. Not very hard. And I think the next one is a video. Share sound. Nope, it's the next one. All right, so just like for when we did this before, let's see if we can have mine be the only one with the sound, just because it's going to get old to hear everyone else's. But we'll do our best. I'll do my best to not make it annoying. And there are no debug or no console log statements here, so I can minimize this. And a good tip, F11 is full screen, as we are tight on pixels on real estate to do the stuff here. Okay, so see how the app runs. Let's see, we hit run. Okay, we have an event parameter issue. But okay, so folks, this is critical to saving yourselves hassles. Elements in design mode, rooster image. When you give the element a good name, cow image, rooster image, pig image, or actually, if you give it any name, a bad name also, when you go to bring out an event handler, the dropdown for element will have the list of names. Folks, pay attention here. This will save you hassles. Always get the element that you want to change. Anytime you're choosing an element, don't type it in, because any sort of typo or case sensitivity typo will make it not work. But even if you misspell it here in the element ID, even if you misspell it here in the element ID, it will be fine as long as you click it from here. You can choose the misspelled one, and the computer doesn't care as long as they match. The problem that you have here is this, the one that you get as it comes in is on event rooster image click. It's looking, this event handler is looking for an element called rooster img, and none of the elements are called rooster img. Now, if we made this one called rooster img, it would work, because it's looking for something like that, and there you go, it works. But I mean, we have to fix the other thing, but why not? Let's just do this. Don't change it there. Make sure that instead of typing it in here the way you might and have a typo, you can just click on the drop down and find the ID that actually does exist. It will only give you IDs of things that exist. Okay, our event for this one, well, looking at them all, they all are just image clicks, and they play a sound and they have a text. And it looks like the cow image works fine, but the rooster image is playing a pig sound and setting the word to pig. And the opposite for the other one. You could drag these two up here and vice versa, or we could just change this to on event pig image clicked on event. While, oh, because it's all, no, that can't be right. Did I break it already? On event. Yeah, on event. If you ever have an issue with App Lab, just F5, refresh the page. It does get jammed every once in a while. So we'll make this event handler handle the two pig things, which are already there, and have this one handle the rooster things that are already there. And if you really want your code to be in the same order as these images, I get that. You can just drag them around, not a big deal. Either way.
It's not a problem that play a big down with the user click the pig and that has the rooster code.
Pig, 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 rooster, rooster, rooster. What's the problem?
On top of all that, it says play it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so comments don't matter as far as the code is concerned. It's a mute. We don't have, it'd be nice to have a mute sound or a mute button, which actually isn't too difficult. But yes, you're right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, why not? You're right, Lev. Let's make it right. All right. Please mute your computers. Let's is this the one with the video? I thought this one was the one with the video. Or 5. Is it because I already did it? Give me a second, folks. How do we do? Let's go here. I don't know why it didn't pop up, or it was the next one. Did your lessons have a video pop up when you went to this one? Oh yeah, there we go. All right, let's watch this brief video. Let's do it in its own window just for fun. And yeah, so probably should have watched this at the beginning, I think.
Programming's a game. It's something that you and the computer are working towards together.
But you're gonna fail a lot. Just get comfortable with failing because it happens.
When you program, you have to get it wrong because that's how you learn.
When you do make mistakes, you're like, okay, it's fine, I can fix this.
Everyone gets bugs, whether you're beginner, intermediate, advanced, everyone gets bugs.
When a computer's not working the way it's supposed to, the way we want it to, we call that a bug.
I get bugs.
I get bugs.
I get bugs. I get bugs.
I totally get bugs.
Everyone gets bugs. Debugging is basically just looking through your code and correcting your mistakes and fixing it.
There are 4 really important steps that you want to follow when you're debugging.
The first thing you want to do is describe your problem. So figure out what's happening. What did you want your code to do, and what is it actually doing? Second step is you want to hunt for bugs. So figure out what is it in your code that's causing that. Step number 3 is you want to try out small solutions and see how they affect your code. And then finally, step 4 is you want to document what you've learned.
Debugging is maybe the #1 thing that can help you become a better programmer because you're seeing the mistakes you made.
Don't delete that. Can you help me with this for a second?
Can you help me with this for a second?
Most of the time I spend debugging is finding the bug, but once I find it, it's easy to fix.
What's this? Get out of here, bugs.
Did your parents put that there?
Maybe, I don't know.
I like debugging with other people because they are like a second brain.
which doubles your computing power, so you can figure out bugs twice as fast.
There we go. We did it.
Experts make bugs. They make big bugs. In fact, your goal should be, as you go along, make bigger and bigger bugs that need to be squashed, because that just means you're doing something worth doing.
You know, the more you practice, the better you get at it, the easier it will be.
I can debug.
I can debug. I can debug.
I can debug.
I can debug, and so can you.
All right, hopefully that was as inspirational as it was intended to be. Okay, so some more debugging. Let's take a look at this. This shouldn't be too terribly hard. It's a lot like what sort of the reverse issue that we had with the hawk and sparrow thing. Let's hit run, see what happens. Okay, lovely sound, but it's gone, it disappeared. There's a couple reasons that could happen. I mean, there's really only one reason that could happen, but just not even looking at the code, there's a couple ways something could be invisible. And in App Lab, you may not be familiar with, but one of the properties of an element, smiley face, is whether or not it's hidden. Hidden true means hidden, hidden false means visible. So if I hit run here, it should just disappear also. Yeah, okay, that's clearly a useful property, a useful tool, make things appear when you want and disappear, but we don't have any of these set properties doing a hidden. We only have a move, or rather a set its X, set its Y, and it's choosing a random number between 0 and 400 for its X. And remember, 0 to 320, so 0 to 400 puts us over here, and 0 to 450 means 500 is this far, so it can end up somewhere off of the screen. But because we are only worried about, or an element's location is only its top left corner. Okay, so if we made X position 0 and Y position 0, that's in the top left corner of the screen. And down over here would be X position 120, because the top left corner of this image, and if it's a round image, it doesn't matter. The image actually is like this. And even if the image is only this big, it will have a square base, or rectangular base, I should say. Square from the standpoint of 90-degree, a different definition of square than the pure polygon definition. Regardless, the code is telling it to move to a random number that would be off the screen. So we need to choose a range that will keep it on the screen, which we obviously could just make it 0 to 319. You can tell from my tone that's not what I want you to do. And 0 to 449. And then it will definitely be on the screen. But, wait, did it? There it is. But that's not good enough for us. The right amount for us is a width, or excuse me, an X value, so that in order to keep the entire square on the screen, we don't want it to go too far to the right. So our maximum X is going to be somewhere between 0 and 320 minus the width of the object. The width is 200. So that means our maximum X is going to be 0 to 100. And I think it is square, 200. So 450, 230. Is that how? No, wait. 200, 250. No, wait, what was it? 200 off? 250. And if we do it there, it should always be entirely on the screen. And that's it for bubble 4. All right, so here, this is your first experience with set screen, which the set screen command is the crux, the center, the foundation, the main point of your multi-screen app that you're working on. And it does exactly what it says. When you, let's go ahead and let's just get rid of that. We get it, sound, music. If you have the app running, you click on event details, it changes to a different screen, but the go back button doesn't do anything. So let's take a look. Right now we have 2 screens, home screen and details screen. And the details screen only has the screen itself, the main text area, and a go back button. And yeah, let's just go ahead and make it so that there's an event handler when the go back button, okay? This is only a 2-screen app, and there's only a handful of things, but you'll see that when you drag out an on event block and try to choose the element that you want to start something, you get to see all of them, not just the current screen. Okay, we're on home screen, and the detail screen has the go back button. And we can still see it here. When you, on your app, you're gonna have 20 or 30 different elements. It helps a lot to have a very good naming system. Generally a good idea to have the type of element it is in the name. Okay, details screen, details button, home screen. If you're never going to interact with it, it's not critical to have a great name, but why not? In this case, we want an event for when the details button is clicked, we want to set the screen to home screen. Now, event, let's speed it up. Okay, and we get to go on event, details button, click. What's going on here? Did I break it? Oh, it's not details button, it's go back button. So there we go. And it works. I would say, I don't know if this bugs you as much as it bugs me. If it doesn't bug you as much as it bugs me, congratulations, your life will probably be better. But folks, just quiet for a second. All right, so here's just a little tip for making things look more professional. Please just stop talking, thank you. All right, so the app is working fine, but when you click on the button, it changes its sort of size and location. I think that looks kind of sloppy. There's a couple ways to fix this. You have to hit reset. If you go into design mode, you can see the size, the height and width of this button, called details button, and its X and Y. If you copy those exactly, 100, 400, 115, 390, and put it on the other one, 100, 400, 115, 390, 100 or 140, 115, 390, it should work. Yeah, so that's one way to do it. So the button actually looks in the same place. The other way to do it is copy to screen, which if you already had, let's get rid of this. It's called go back button. there would be an issue if we ran it right now. But if you're on this screen and you want a button here on another screen, you can do copy to screen. And I have the details button selected. I can do copy and choose detail screen. And now there's a button on details screen. It has the same name or the same text, but let's change the text. And what did we, let's just, I forget what we called it. Yeah, it was go back button, but I can't remember the capitalization. I think that's what it was. But that is a great way to have an element with the exact same properties, especially when you get into tons of different properties with very specific colors. And let's go back to the code and make sure that I did it correctly. And there we go. And now the button lines up. I don't think I would ever take a point off for that type of thing, but you know, let's have some pride in our work. It is an extension of yourself. All right, so you have to think about event handlers or on events as function definitions. You would never have a function definition inside of another definition. In fact, you would never have a function definition inside of anything else. Or yeah, it's function definitions are the tools in your toolbox, you know, the individual plays in your playbook that sort of that sit by themselves sort of towards the bottom. Okay, so we have function calls and we have function definitions, but you would never have a function definition inside of another definition. You will have function calls inside of other definitions so that when we call this first one, which is this, it may call this second one, which would have its own thing. We did this with the under the seat project where we had higher and lower level functions. Super common. In fact, necessary, but you would never have another definition inside of a definition. They all need to be all the way left justified, sort of top level, not really top level, left level. Regardless, that is what we're looking for this one. The way it gives it to us is with one event handler and then event handlers inside. Now, if you run this the first time, it does kind of work, sort of. But there's a point where it breaks. I can't remember where it breaks it. Hit the up, play music without resetting the program. Oh, okay. So if we hit up, play, stop. Did I not reset this? This is supposed to not work. Yeah, let me read that. Oh, is it play and then stop? Weird happening. Second time you play music. Is it because, I'm sorry for the loudness. Let me turn this down. I'm just turning it down because I feel like I'm blowing out some eardrums. Hold on. Let's refresh this. I know this doesn't work. There's some combination why this doesn't work or when this doesn't work. That's what we're. Yeah, okay. So now why is it doing play sound twice? All right, I think that's what it is. It's stacking the commands or queuing them. Don't sweat the details. Let's see here. Let's turn this down. Okay, so play, stop, hide, show, play, stop. So it's stacking them. Yeah. Okay. So hide, hiding twice, and showing, playing 3 times. Okay. So that is what it's doing. It, because this event is sort of constantly called or constantly in effect, the next time you do it, it's doing it twice because it already is going. So the solution, even though the problem wasn't tremendous, it still is not right. Let's hit reset. There we go. And what you need to do is get all of the event handlers separated from each other. So we have what we want to happen when the up button happens, when the down button, when the play, and when the stop. Yeah. All right. So regardless if you get your code to work or it accidentally works despite yourself, you need all of your event handlers, just like function definitions. They need to be all the way to the left. They need to be their own separate thing. You can see here, this is just as an aside, a good use of hide and show, where we have hide and show. You need to get all of the event handlers outside of that first event handler. You should never have, it's essentially a function definition inside of another function definition. Okay, so this is, okay, do you see how we have this first function definition, or excuse me, this first event handler, and then there's this event on events are inside of events. You need to get the other on events outside. Pyaw. And it's always appreciated if you move around the white spaces so that, or even create your own white spaces to make it look nice and neat between major chunks of code. All right, so one more bubble and then check for understanding. Shouldn't be too hard. Okay, so for this one, we are given a single screen app with some text, a nice picture, a starting picture, and 3 buttons called calm button, tired button, excited button. And let's take a look. Well, let's just see what happens. We hit run. We have nothing happening right away, so we have no sort of sequential code. We click on calm and is it playing music? Yeah. So it's playing this sound under calm button, switch it to tired. Replace that, and excited doesn't do anything. So here, guys, a little quieter back there, please. We're almost done. So here is a Guys, like, for real, just stop talking for like 5 more minutes. You'll notice that there is a stop sound before each of these play sounds. If I get rid of this stop sound and I run and I click calm, plays the calm. I click on tired. It's actually playing both of them at the same time. It's kind of difficult to tell. Not a great example, but it's there. This is a lot like when we did the turtle movements, when we did pen up, move to, pen down. Just a good policy to have stop sounds right in front of the new sound. And stop sound can have a specific parameter for if you have multiple sounds going and you only want to stop one specific one, you would choose it the way you choose play sound, or you can get rid of that parameter and it just stops all the output sounds. And there's that. So our goal for this one is to pick a song, an image, and a text to go with excited. And the easiest way to do this is to just copy this text, but there's more to change than you think. First, let's go ahead and put a white space in there. And we need to go through each one of these lines and see what they're doing. One of the requirements is that only the excited button has a thick border when clicked. If you look here, when you click on calm, it has the white border. When you click on tired, Can I get rid of the stop sound? Really? Oh, it's the other one. It's because I didn't redo it for the other one. I have 2 of them going. All right. So false, false, true, but it still should stop sound. Okay, but either way, we now have this third event handler, and the event we want when exciting button is clicked. The first 3 are all border width property set properties, and it's clearly setting the border width of the one that you're clicking on to 2, and setting the border width of the other 2 to 0, meaning get rid of the border. The property elements already has a background color as a parameter, so you don't need to mess with that. Here, we just want to set, when we click on excited button, we want the excited button border to go to 2 and the tired button border to go to 0. Because remember, we just copied the tired button text. We got to go through and fix it. And so we need an excited image. Let's pick one. And this one looks good, except is that a YouTube video? Copy image address. So in our excited button text, let's set the main image to, let's see if that works. There we go. Set the main text to something excited. And let's choose an excited sound. what is hits? I guess that's like musical cues, objects. I don't know. There are literally, all right, sure, whatever. Bubble sound will be fine. And so we have calm, tired, and excited. There we go. Each time the text changes, the image changes, and the sound changes. The text of this changes as well as the border of the button that you click on. All right, so that's it for this. There is a very simple check for understanding that you can't really get it wrong as long as you do it. And yeah, just sort of generic stuff. Go ahead and do that. And that is where we will end the video. Okay, let me know if you have any questions.